Hey, welcome back to Dr. Buddy Explains, the place where we get real about pet health, so your four-legged best friend can live their absolute best life. Today we are diving into a topic that makes most dog owners' skin crawl, and honestly, it should, because we are talking about fleas. Not just the generic, oh my dog has fleas kind of conversation, but a deep dive into the specific types of fleas that could be living on your dog right now, what each one does to your pup's body, and most importantly, what you can do about it. Grab a coffee, get comfortable, and let's get into it. Let's kick things off with the most common culprit in American households, the dog flea, scientifically known as Ctenocephalides canis. This little nightmare is basically the original uninvited house guest. It shows up without warning, makes itself completely at home, and brings the whole extended family along for the ride. Now here is something that blows most people's minds. A flea can jump up to 150 times its own body height. To put that in perspective, that would be the equivalent of an average person leaping over a 30-story building in a single bound. And these things are doing that all day long, hopping from your dog to your carpet to your couch and back again without breaking a sweat. The dog flea feeds on your pup's blood multiple times a day, and that alone is enough to cause serious itching and discomfort. But here is where it gets really serious. The saliva that fleas inject while feeding is highly allergenic. A lot of dogs develop what vets call Flea Allergy Dermatitis, or FAD, and this is no joke. We are talking about a condition where a single flea bite triggers an intense inflammatory reaction across your dog's skin. You will notice patchy hair loss, red irritated skin, crusty sores, and a smell that tells you something is definitely wrong. Your actionable tip here is straightforward. If your dog is obsessively scratching around the base of their tail and belly area, do not wait it out. Book a vet appointment as soon as you can, because catching FAD early saves your dog a tremendous amount of suffering and saves you a much bigger vet bill down the line. Now here is a plot twist that surprises almost every dog owner. The most common flea found on dogs in the United States is not actually the dog flea, it is the cat flea, Ctenocephalides felis. Yes, you read that right. The cat flea has absolutely no loyalty and no preference. It will jump on your dog without a second thought, feed happily, and set up camp like it owns the place. If you have both a cat and a dog at home, these two species of fleas are essentially running a shuttle service between your pets around the clock. The cat flea is slightly smaller than the dog flea, but every bit as destructive. It causes the same intense itching, the same allergic reactions, and here is the kicker, it also transmits tapeworms. The way that works is almost too gross to explain, but here it is. Your dog scratches, bites at the itchy area, accidentally swallows an infected flea, and boom, now they have tapeworms setting up shop in their intestines. It is a 2-for-1 deal that nobody asked for. Your actionable tip is this. If you have multiple pets, you must treat all of them at the same time, every single time. Treating your dog and skipping your cat is like mopping half the floor and calling it clean. The fleas will just bounce back and forth until you address every host in the home simultaneously. And let's talk about one that not many people have heard of, but absolutely needs to be on your radar. The human flea, Pulex irritans, which despite its name, has zero hesitation about using your dog as its personal buffet. This one is a little larger than the fleas we just talked about, and it is honestly one of the most adaptable parasites out there. It thrives in cold weather, hot weather, humid climates, and dry climates. Think of it as the all-terrain vehicle of the flea world. It particularly loves environments with organic debris. Think yards with piles of leaves, wood stacks, and areas where stray animals might pass through. If your dog spends a lot of time in the backyard or goes on walks through wooded areas, the chances of a run-in with the human flea go up significantly. The bites from this species tend to be more painful and cause more visible swelling at the site. In dogs with weaker immune systems, like senior dogs or very young puppies, a heavy infestation can lead to anemia, lethargy, and fever. Your actionable tip here is to make yard maintenance part of your pet care routine. Rake up leaf piles, clear out wood debris, and keep the grass trimmed. A tidy yard is genuinely one of the most underrated forms of flea prevention out there. Okay, now we are getting into territory that sounds like something out of a horror movie, and honestly, it kind of is. Meet Echidnophaga gallinaceae, commonly called the stick-tight flea or the poultry flea. Unlike every other flea we have talked about so far, this one does not hop around. It finds a spot it likes, digs in, and stays there, literally embedding itself into your dog's skin and feeding continuously. If you have ever seen a dog with tiny dark clusters around their eyes, ears, or muzzle that do not move no matter how much the dog scratches, there is a good chance you are looking at stick-tight fleas. This species is most common in dogs that have contact with chickens or other poultry, or dogs that spend time in rural areas where birds roam freely. In serious infestations, the lesions they create around the face can become severely inflamed and can open the door to secondary bacterial infections. In small puppies or dogs that are already unwell, a large colony of these fleas can cause dangerous anemia in a matter of days because they are pulling blood around the clock without stopping. Your actionable tip is critical here. Do not try to pull these fleas off with your fingers or tweezers at home. You risk leaving parts of the flea embedded in the skin, which makes infection far more likely. Take your dog straight to the vet for safe and proper removal. Here is one that technically walks the line between flea and something even more unsettling. Tunga penetrans, known in everyday language as the chigo flea, or in some regions as the sand flea. Now, unlike the others, it is the fertilized female that causes the real problem. She actually burrows into the skin, typically between the toes, around the paw pads, or near the nails, and she stays there, swelling up and releasing eggs over time. What you end up seeing is a raised, dark-centered lesion surrounded by redness and inflammation. Your dog will start limping, will be reluctant to put weight on the affected paw, and will lick at their feet constantly. If left untreated, those entry points can become seriously infected, and what started as a small flea problem turns into a wound care issue that requires veterinary attention and possibly antibiotics. This flea is more common in sandy, warm environments and in areas where stray animals pass through regularly. If you live in the southern United States or travel with your dog to warmer coastal regions, this one is worth knowing about. Your actionable tip is to get into the habit of inspecting your dog's paws after every outdoor adventure, especially if you have been walking on sandy ground or in areas with lots of wildlife activity. Part the fur between the toes, check the pads, and look for anything that seems swollen, dark, or out of the ordinary. Now let's have the conversation that most people skip, and it is honestly the most important one. Treating your dog for fleas without treating your home is like trying to bail out a sinking boat without plugging the hole. Here is a fact from veterinary research that genuinely changes the way most pet owners think about this. Only about 5% of a flea infestation actually lives on your pet at any given time. The other 95%, the eggs, larvae, and pupae, are scattered throughout your home right now, hiding in carpet fibers, couch cushions, baseboards, dog beds, and the cracks in your hardwood floors. So when you treat your dog and feel like you have solved the problem, you have really only addressed a tiny fraction of what is actually going on. Within a few weeks, all those eggs hatch, the new adults jump onto your dog, and you are right back where you started, wondering why the flea treatment did not work. The ASPCA and most veterinary organizations recommend a combined approach that hits the pet and the environment at the same time. That means vacuuming thoroughly and disposing of the bag immediately, washing all bedding, including your own if your dog sleeps with you, in hot water, and using a vet-recommended environmental spray or fogger in your home. Your actionable tip is to ask your vet not just for a flea product for your dog, but for a complete protocol that covers your whole home. This is the only approach that actually breaks the flea life cycle instead of just temporarily reducing the numbers. And finally, let's talk prevention, because honestly the best flea story is the one that never starts in the first place. The American pet market is full of excellent flea prevention options these days, from monthly topicals like Frontline and Advantage to oral medications like NexGard and Bravecto that protect from the inside out, to longer-lasting flea collars like Seresto that provide months of continuous protection. The key is consistency. One of the most common mistakes pet owners make is getting off schedule with applications. Maybe life gets busy, maybe you forget for a couple of weeks, and in that gap, fleas find their window. Setting a recurring reminder on your phone for your dog's flea prevention schedule is one of the simplest and most effective things you can do for their long-term health. Also keep in mind that flea season in many parts of the United States runs nearly year-round now, particularly in warmer states like Florida, Texas, and California. Year-round prevention is no longer just for the cautious, it is genuinely the standard recommendation from most vets across the country. Your actionable tip is simple but powerful. Put your flea prevention schedule on your calendar right now, the same way you would a doctor's appointment or a birthday. Consistency is the single biggest factor that separates dogs who stay flea-free from dogs who end up with full-blown infestations. That is a wrap for today here on Dr. Buddy Explains. And honestly, I hope this one opened your eyes a little bit. Fleas are not just a nuisance, they are a real health threat. And knowing the difference between the types that can affect your dog puts you in a much stronger position to protect them. If you found this helpful, please hit that like button. It genuinely helps more pet owners find this channel and get the information their dogs deserve. Subscribe if you have not already, and drop a comment below telling me what topic you want Dr. Buddy Explains to tackle next. I read every single one of them. Take good care of your pups, and I will see you in the next one.